Sir David Attenborough has celebrated his upcoming 99th birthday with the King.
I used to hang out with my grandfather, who was in his 90s, and I thought, the hell want to live this long?
At age 87, do you feel like you get wiser?
In a world where fame often flickers and fades, a rare few have defied time itself. These legends kick-started their careers in the golden age of Hollywood, the rise of television, or the heyday of vinyl and stage lights, yet still command admiration in 2025. From Oscar-winning actors to groundbreaking directors and beloved television personalities, their influence spans generations. Today, we'll walk through the stories of Hollywood's oldest stars who are still living in 2025. Let's get started. Number 10. Terry Moore, 96 years old. Born as Helen Luella Coford on January 7, 1929, in Glendale, California, Terry Moore remains one of the last surviving actresses from Hollywood's golden age. Her early career began in the 1940s under various stage names before she officially adopted Terry Moore. By the early 1950s, she had emerged as a significant talent in American cinema. In 1952, she achieved critical acclaim with her performance as Marie in Come Back, Little Sheba, a role that earned her an Academy Award nomination for Best Supporting Actress. Starring alongside Shirley Booth and Burt Lancaster, Moore portrayed a troubled teenager entangled in emotional conflict. Moore went on to build an impressive filmography that included titles such as Beneath the 12-Mile Reef, Peyton Place, and King of the Khyber Rifles. Her beauty and on-screen charisma led to roles across various genres, from romantic drama to adventure epics. By the 1960s, although mainstream film offers slowed, she continued to work in television and independent films. Moore's personal life, too, was often under the public spotlight. Most notably, she claimed to have had a secret marriage to billionaire Howard Hughes in the 1940s, a matter that generated legal and media intrigue for decades. Remarkably, even at 96 years old, Terry Moore remains professionally active. Presently, she has roles in upcoming independent projects such as Silent Life, a biographical drama about silent film actor Rudolph Valentino, and American Superman, a film still in development that explores themes of American identity and legacy. Her ability to continue performing into her 10th decade is not only a reflection of her physical vitality, but also a lifelong passion for storytelling. Beyond her film work, Moore has been involved in writing and public speaking. In 1984, she published a memoir titled The Beauty and the Billionaire, in which she recounted her experiences with Howard Hughes and her life in Hollywood. Over the years, she has been a frequent guest at film festivals, retrospectives, and award ceremonies. Terry Moore's career spans over 8 decades, making her one of the few actors whose work touches multiple distinct eras of American film history, from the post-war studio system to the digital age of independent cinema. Moore's legacy is not merely that of a young starlet turned legend, but of an artist whose love for acting has outlasted trends and eras. Impressive, right? Well, we're just getting started. Number 9. Dick Van Dyke, 99 years old. Dick Van Dyke, born Richard Wayne Van Dyke on December 13, 1925 in West Plains, Missouri, grew up in Danville, Illinois, where he developed an early interest in performance, working briefly as a radio announcer during the Second World War before joining the U.S. Army Air Forces in a non-combat role. His initial aspirations leaned toward ministry, but his natural comedic timing and charisma led him to broadcasting and, eventually, to the stage, where his lifelong career in entertainment would truly take flight. Van Dyke's breakthrough came on Broadway with his Tony Award-winning performance in Bye Bye Birdie in 1960. This performance caught the attention of television producer Carl Reiner. This collaboration led to the creation of The Dick Van Dyke Show, which aired on CBS from 1961 to 1966. The show, co-starring Mary Tyler Moore and created by Reiner, was revolutionary for its time, blending sharp domestic comedy with workplace satire, and won 15 Emmy Awards during its run. Van Dyke's portrayal of Rob Petrie, a likable, clumsy, and clever TV writer, turned him into a household name and a central figure in the golden age of television. By the mid-1960s, Van Dyke had seamlessly transitioned into film, most memorably in Walt Disney's Mary Poppins, where he played the cheerful chimney sweep Bert. His Cockney accent may have drawn criticism over the years, but the film itself became a global hit, grossing over $100 million worldwide during its original release and winning 5 Academy Awards. Other notable film appearances included Chitty, Chitty Bang Bang, The Comic, and Fitzwilly. Even as trends in television and film evolved, Van Dyke remained active in entertainment, appearing in projects well into his later years. He starred in the drama series Diagnosis, Killing from 1993 to 2001, alongside his real-life son, Barry Van Dyke, playing Dr. Mark Sloan, a medical doctor who solves crimes. In the 2000s and 2010s, he appeared in The Night at the Museum trilogy and even made a nostalgic return in Mary Poppins Returns, performing a dance number at age 92. Now, Dick Van Dyke is 99 years old and enjoying a well-earned retirement, though he remains active in public life and pop culture. With a net worth estimated at $35 million, his legacy is not only marked by financial success, but by the affection of generations of fans. In 2021, he was honored at the 43rd Annual Kennedy Center Honors. In recent years, Van Dyke has also become an advocate for healthy aging. He continues to stay physically active and often credits his well-being to movement, laughter, and positive thinking. His marriage in 2012 to makeup artist Arlene Silver, who is 46 years his junior, made headlines for the delight in seeing Van Dyke happy and energetic well into his 80s and 90s. Number 8. Clint Eastwood, 94 years old. Born on May 31, 1930 in San Francisco, California, Clint Eastwood is a towering figure in American cinema whose influence spans more than 6 decades. Beginning as a television actor in the 1950s, Eastwood rose to fame playing rugged, laconic anti-heroes in westerns and action films. He became an international star with Sergio Leone's Dollars trilogy, particularly with The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, where his portrayal of the man with no name redefined the Western genre. This iconic role, along with his turn as Inspector Harry Callahan in Dirty Harry and its sequels, cemented his image as a stoic, morally complex character. Eastwood's transition from acting to directing in the 1970s and 80s marked a new chapter in his career, one that would ultimately elevate him to auteur status. He directed his first feature film, Play Misty for Me, in 1971, showcasing early on his talent behind the camera. However, it was 1992's Unforgiven that brought him widespread critical acclaim as a filmmaker. The film deconstructed the Western mythos and earned 4 Academy Awards, including Best Picture and Best Director for Eastwood. He became one of only a handful of filmmakers to have won Best Director, while also starring in the same film. Over the years, Eastwood's directorial output has been both prolific and diverse. In 2004, Million Dollar Baby earned him his second pair of Best Director and Best Picture Oscars, as well as a nomination for Best Actor. In the following years, he continued to deliver powerful and thought-provoking films such as Mystic River, Gran Torino, American Sniper, and Sully. Presently, Eastwood is 94 years old and remains remarkably active in filmmaking. His latest directorial project, Juror No. 2, starring Nicholas Hoult and Toni Collette, is scheduled for release in late 2025. The courtroom thriller, which examines the psychological turmoil of a juror during a killing trial, underscores Eastwood's enduring commitment to exploring complex human emotions and ethical dilemmas. Filmed in Savannah, Georgia, the production wrapped in 2003, and post-production was completed under his supervision. Throughout his career, Eastwood has directed over 40 films and appeared in more than 60, a feat few in the industry have matched. His films have grossed over $3 billion worldwide, and he has received multiple Lifetime Achievement Awards, including the Irving B. Thalberg Memorial Award from the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences in 1995 and the American Film Institute's Life Achievement Award in 1996. In 2009, France awarded him the Legion of Honor, its highest civilian award, in recognition of his artistic contributions. Hang tight, though, because the show has just begun. Number 7. Mel Brooks, 98 years old. Born Melvin Kaminsky on June 28, 1926 in Brooklyn, New York, Mel Brooks made his mark as a writer, director, producer, actor, and composer. Raised in a working-class Jewish household, Brooks lost his father at the age of 2, and it was comedy that became both his refuge and outlet. After serving in the Second World War as a corporal in the U.S. Army, he entered show business as a drummer and stand-up comic before joining the writing team of Sid Caesar's Your Show of Shows in the 1950s. One of his earliest breakthroughs came with the creation of Get Smart in 1965, a TV sitcom co-created with Buck Henry that spoofed the secret agent craze of the Cold War era. Starring Don Adams as the bumbling Agent 86, the show won 7 Emmy Awards during its run and remains one of the most celebrated television comedies of the 1960s. His 1967 directorial debut, The Producers, was initially met with controversy, but eventually became a cult classic. It won Brooks the Academy Award for Best Original Screenplay and was later adapted into a Tony Award-winning Broadway musical. In the 1970s, Brooks released a series of genre-defining parody films that are now considered landmarks of comedic cinema. Blazing Saddles, a Western satire starring Cleavon Little and Gene Wilder, took on racism and Hollywood cliches with a level of outrageousness rarely seen in mainstream film. That same year, Brooks released Young Frankenstein, a black-and-white homage to 1930s horror films, also starring Gene Wilder. Co-written with Wilder, the film was both a critical and commercial success, earning 2 Academy Award nominations and grossing over $86 million. His other hits from this era include Silent Movie, High Anxiety, and Spaceballs. Even into his 90s, Brooks has remained active. In 2023, he was involved as executive producer and narrator for History of the World, Part 2, a Hulu sequel to his 1981 anthology History of the World, Part 1. The new series featured a diverse cast including Wanda Sykes, Ike Barinholtz, and Nick Kroll, and marked Brooks's return to TV comedy after decades. Brooks's contribution to entertainment has earned him the rare EGOT status. He has won an Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, and Tony. His accolades include 3 Grammys, including Best Spoken Comedy Album for The 2,000-Year-Old Man in the year 2000, which he performed with longtime collaborator Carl Reiner. He has also received Lifetime Achievement honors, including the Kennedy Center Honors in 2009 and the National Medal of Arts in 2016, presented to him by President Barack Obama. Number 6. David Attenborough, 98 years old. Sir David Attenborough, born on May 8, 1926 in Isleworth, London, is one of the most revered broadcasters and natural historians in the world. With a career spanning over 7 decades, Attenborough has become synonymous with nature documentaries, lending his distinctive, soothing voice and passionate storytelling to some of the most influential wildlife programs ever made. His journey began at the BBC in 1952, where he initially worked as a producer for the Talks department. His breakthrough came with the launch of the ZooQuest series in 1954, which combined travel adventure with wildlife education, a novel concept at the time. However, it was in 1979 that Attenborough would change the landscape of nature programming forever with the release of Life on Earth. This 13-part series, produced by the BBC Natural History Unit, was a monumental success, watched by over 500 million people worldwide. It set a new benchmark for documentary filmmaking with its innovative use of on-location filming and scientific storytelling. Throughout the 1980s and 90s, Attenborough followed up with sequels that built upon the Life series' global acclaim. Titles like The Living Planet, The Trials of Life, and The Private Life of Plants expanded the scope of his work. combining scientific insight with cinematic beauty. His collaboration with the BBC reached new heights with the landmark series Planet Earth, Blue Planet 2, and Our Planet, the latter of which was produced by Netflix in collaboration with WWF and Silverback Films. These series were shot in ultra-high definition with cutting-edge drone and underwater camera work, and also carried urgent environmental messages about climate change, biodiversity loss, and habitat destruction. In 2020, at age 94, Attenborough released A Life on Our Planet, a deeply personal documentary reflecting on the state of the Earth and his lifetime of observations. In it, he warned of the collapse of biodiversity and called for immediate global action to restore balance to nature. He also addressed the United Nations Security Council in 2021, where he implored global leaders to treat climate change as a security threat. Despite being in his late 90s, Attenborough remains actively involved in documentary narration. In 2023, he presented Wild Isles, a series focused entirely on the wildlife of the British Isles. Produced by the BBC in partnership with the Open University, the National Trust, and RSPB, it highlighted the ecological richness and conservation challenges within the UK itself. His voice continues to be a powerful tool for advocacy. Knighted in 1985 and made a Companion of Honor in 1996, Attenborough has received more than 30 honorary degrees, multiple BAFTA awards, and was the first person to win BAFTAs for programs in black and white, color, HD, 3D, and 4K formats. His name has been given to several newly discovered species, including the fossil Attenboroughsaurus and the rainforest beetle Trigonopterus attenboroughi. Number 5. Morgan Freeman, 87 years old. Morgan Freeman, born on June 1, 1937 in Memphis, Tennessee, is widely regarded as one of the most respected and recognizable actors in the world. With a calm authority, deep baritone voice, and uncommanding screen presence, Freeman has carved out a legendary career across film, television, and stage that spans more than 6 decades. His early life saw him move frequently between Mississippi and Illinois with his family. He also turned down a drama scholarship from Jackson State University to serve in the U.S. Air Force in 1955, where he worked as a radar technician. It wasn't until the 1960s, after leaving the military, that he fully committed to acting. Freeman's career in entertainment began with stage roles and small television appearances, but it wasn't until the late 1980s that he began to garner widespread acclaim. His breakthrough role came in 1987's Street Smart, where his performance as a violent pimp earned him an Academy Award nomination for Best Supporting Actor. This opened the door to a string of powerful roles, including Driving Miss Daisy, which earned him a Golden Globe Award for Best Actor and another Oscar nomination. However, it was his portrayal of Ellis "Red" Redding in The Shawshank Redemption that cemented Freeman as an icon. The film, based on a Stephen King novella, initially underperformed at the box office, but became one of the most beloved films of all time. Over the years, Freeman has played everything from a humble mechanic to God himself, as seen in Bruce Almighty and its sequel, Evan Almighty. He also portrayed Nelson Mandela in Invictus, directed by Clint Eastwood, a role that earned him yet another Oscar nomination. Freeman's collaboration with Eastwood has been especially fruitful. Their film Million Dollar Baby won 4 Academy Awards, including Best Picture and Best Supporting Actor for Freeman. In addition to acting, Freeman has an extensive resume as a narrator. His voice has been featured in documentaries such as March of the Penguins, Through the Wormhole, and The Story of God with Morgan Freeman, which explored spiritual traditions around the world and was broadcast in over 50 countries. Despite turning 87 in 2024, Freeman remains active in the entertainment industry. In recent years, he has appeared in films such as Coming to America, Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard, and Paradise Highway, and he continues to take roles in both major blockbusters and independent features. In 2023, he starred in A Good Person, directed by Zach Braff, and co-starring Florence Pugh, showcasing his ability to bring gravitas to emotionally complex roles even in his late 80s. Freeman is also a philanthropist and co-founder of Revelations Entertainment, a production company that focuses on producing content that reveals truth. His civic contributions include support for environmental causes, disaster relief, and civil rights. In 2014, he received the Freedom Medal from the National Civil Rights Museum, and he holds honorary degrees from several universities. Number 4. Shirley MacLaine, 90 years old. Born on April 24, 1934 in Richmond, Virginia, Shirley MacLaine is one of the most accomplished and enduring figures in American entertainment. With a career that spans over 70 years, she has established herself as a force in acting, directing, writing, and producing. Presently, at the age of 90, she remains a vibrant and respected figure in the entertainment industry, a living link to the golden age of Hollywood and a trailblazer in every sense. MacLaine's entrance into the world of film was as unexpected as it was meteoric. She started as a chorus girl on Broadway, and her big break came in 1955 when she was cast in Alfred Hitchcock's The Trouble with Harry. Her quirky charm and natural acting style caught the attention of audiences and directors alike, and she was soon starring in major films like 1956's Around the World in 80 Days, which won the Academy Award for Best Picture. By the end of the 1950s, MacLaine had earned her first Oscar nomination for Some Came Running, acting alongside Frank Sinatra and Dean Martin. Throughout the 1960s and 70s, MacLaine continued to challenge Hollywood norms, choosing roles that portrayed strong, complex women. One of her most celebrated performances came in The Apartment, directed by Billy Wilder. The film was both a critical and commercial success, winning 5 Academy Awards, including Best Picture, and earned MacLaine a second Oscar nomination. Her role as Fran Kubelik, a vulnerable yet defiant elevator operator, became an iconic character of the era. She received further acclaim for her performance in The Turning Point, a film about aging ballerinas and mother-daughter rivalry, which earned her another Academy Award nomination. However, it was in 1983 that she finally took home the Oscar for Best Actress for her role in Terms of Endearment. Directed by James L. Brooks, the film was both a box office hit and a critical darling, winning 5 Academy Awards. MacLaine's portrayal of Aurora Greenway, a strong-willed yet emotionally complex mother, solidified her place among the greats of American cinema. Beyond acting, MacLaine has directed and produced films, written over a dozen best-selling books, and remained a vocal and unconventional presence in public life. Her autobiographical and spiritual writings, including Out on a Limb and Dancing in the Light, have sold millions of copies and contributed to the mainstreaming of New Age beliefs in popular culture. Her interest in reincarnation, metaphysics, and extraterrestrial life has drawn both criticism and admiration, but she has never wavered in her convictions. Even into her late 80s and now her 90s, MacLaine continues to act. She appeared in Bernie alongside Jack Black and Matthew McConaughey, a role that earned her significant praise. In 2016, she starred in The Last Word with Amanda Seyfried, playing a retired businesswoman determined to shape her legacy. Her recent appearances include roles in Only Killings in the Building and voiceover work in documentaries. Despite her age, she maintains a professional presence and is frequently invited to speak at film festivals, spiritual seminars, and retrospectives. Number 3. Katharine Ross, 85 years old. Born on January 29, 1940, in Hollywood, California, Katharine Ross achieved swift stardom in the late 1960s and then consciously stepped away from the spotlight, later reinventing herself in quieter but no less impactful ways. Now 85 years old, Ross continues to represent a rare blend of artistic grace, selective stardom, and entrepreneurial evolution. Her breakout role came in 1967 when she starred as Elaine Robinson in The Graduate, opposite Dustin Hoffman. Directed by Mike Nichols, the film was a cultural phenomenon, earning 7 Academy Award nominations and winning Best Director. Ross's performance earned her a nomination for the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress and won her the Golden Globe for New Star of the Year. She followed that triumph with another iconic performance in Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid in 1969, playing the role of Etta Place alongside Paul Newman and Robert Redford. The film became a box office juggernaut and a beloved classic of the new Hollywood era, further solidifying Ross's reputation. That same year, she starred in Tell Them Willie Boy Is Here, a Western directed by her future husband, Sam Elliott, though the two would not marry until 1984. Their enduring marriage, now over 40 years long, has been one of the more quietly successful relationships in Hollywood, admired for its stability and low profile. Throughout the 1970s and early 80s, Ross continued to act in films and television, including roles in The Stepford Wives and Voyage of the Damned. However, she gradually became more selective in her roles, preferring family life and private pursuits over constant public attention. She slowed down her acting career significantly by the mid-1980s. In her later years, Ross turned toward business and creative endeavors behind the camera. She co-founded a small production company focused on developing projects that align with her values and artistic sensibilities, aiming to give voice to female-led and socially conscious stories. Demonstrating a keen sense of reinvention, she also launched a boutique skincare line inspired by natural ingredients and wellness principles. She has remained active in charitable causes, particularly those related to mental health, animal welfare, and environmental protection, and occasionally makes public appearances with her husband, Sam Elliott, at film retrospectives or award ceremonies honoring their respective careers. Number 2. Lily Tomlin, 85 years old. Born Mary Jean Tomlin on September 1, 1939, in Detroit, Michigan, Lily Tomlin is now 85 years old, making her one of the few performers whose career spans more than 6 decades and continues to evolve with changing times. Tomlin first achieved national fame in 1969 when she joined NBC's Rowan and Martin's Laugh-In, a groundbreaking sketch comedy series that ran from 1968 to 1973. Her work on Laugh-In earned her a 1972 Primetime Emmy Award and firmly established her as one of America's leading female comedians at a time when the comedy world was still male-dominated. This also led to work in film. In 1975, Tomlin made her big-screen debut in Robert Altman's Nashville, where her performance as a gospel singer earned her an Academy Award nomination for Best Supporting Actress. In 1980, she starred alongside Jane Fonda and Dolly Parton in 9 to 5, a workplace comedy that not only became a box office smash, grossing over $100 million domestically, but also sparked conversations about women's rights, gender equality, and toxic work culture. Throughout the 1980s and 90s, Tomlin continued to work across various mediums. Her one-woman Broadway show, The Search for Signs of Intelligent Life in the Universe, written by her longtime partner and now wife, Jane Wagner, premiered in 1985 and earned Tomlin a Tony Award for Best Actress. The show was later adapted into a film in 1991. Her collaboration with Wagner remains one of the most acclaimed creative partnerships in American theater and LGBTQ+ history. Tomlin's television resurgence came in the 2000s and 2010s, when she appeared in popular series such as The West Wing, Desperate Housewives, and most notably, Grace and Frankie, opposite Jane Fonda. The Netflix series became a streaming hit and ran for 7 seasons, making it one of Netflix's longest-running original series. Tomlin's role as the free-spirited Frankie Bergstein earned her 4 consecutive Primetime Emmy nominations for Outstanding Lead Actress in a Comedy Series. Off-screen, Tomlin has been deeply involved in philanthropy and activism. She has supported causes ranging from animal welfare to homelessness and has consistently advocated for the rights of the LGBTQ+ community. She has also lent her voice to educational projects and progressive campaigns. Even at 85, Lily Tomlin continues to perform in theater productions, contribute to television and film projects, and participate in voice acting. If you thought this was impressive, this next entry will blow your mind. Number 1. Norman Lear, 102 years old. Born on July 27, 1922, in New Haven, Connecticut, Norman Lear is 102 years old today. He rose to prominence in the 1970s with All in the Family, which premiered on CBS in January 1971. Inspired by the British series Till Death Us Do Part, the show introduced Archie Bunker, a blue-collar bigot played by Carroll O'Connor, whose arguments with his liberal son-in-law ignited debates on race, gender, sexuality, and class in living rooms across America. All in the Family was a ratings juggernaut, finishing as the #1 show on television for 5 consecutive seasons. It won 4 Emmy Awards for Outstanding Comedy Series and set a new precedent for topical, issue-driven sitcoms. Following that seismic success, Lear created a string of shows that centered Black families and working-class experiences, offering nuanced, often humorous portraits that hadn't previously existed in mainstream entertainment. The Jeffersons, a spin-off of All in the Family, chronicled an upwardly mobile African-American family navigating life in Manhattan. It ran for 11 seasons and became one of the longest-running sitcoms in U.S. history. Good Times, developed with Eric Monty and Mike Evans, was the first primetime sitcom to feature a 2-parent Black family. And Maude was one of the first American TV shows to deal openly with topics like abortion, feminism, and mental health. Beyond these headline projects, Lear founded Tandem Productions and later Communications, which became responsible for producing many of his iconic series. His work in the 1970s paved the way for more diverse and confrontational television content, giving voice to characters who reflected America's complexity and contradictions. Even in the later stages of life, Lear remained impressively active. He was involved in rebooting One Day at a Time for Netflix in 2017, this time focusing on a Cuban-American family. At 98, he was still listed as executive producer on the project. Lear also engaged in advocacy throughout his life. He founded People for the American Way in 1981, a progressive advocacy group established in response to the rise of the religious right and growing threats to civil liberties. He also played a role in media reform and civic education, donating part of his personal copy of the Declaration of Independence for public display across the U.S. Throughout his life, Lear has been the recipient of numerous accolades, including the National Medal of Arts in 1999, the Kennedy Center Honors in 2017, and 5 Primetime Emmy Awards. In 2021, he broke records as the oldest Emmy winner in history. Well, that's it for now. Thanks for watching. Did you like this video? If you did, please consider liking, dropping a comment, and hitting the subscribe button so that you don't miss out on our new uploads. Also, don't miss this video you see on your screen right now. It's truly unbelievable.